Hey everybody, it's Jason with the Boardgame Mechanics, and today we're going to take a look at an expansion to the game Bohnanza called Ladies and Gangsters. Ladies and Gangsters is an expansion for the Uwe Rosenberg classic Bohnanza. The ladies game can play 3 to 5, and the Gangsters game can play 1 to 2, which is cool. And effectively in ladies, what you're doing is you're adding lady beans and baby beans, and it's going to change up the amount of coins that you're getting for harvest based on the lady or the baby. All else kind of plays the same. And in the Gangsters, you're going to be going up against Mafia bosses, 3 of them. Based on the number of players. If you're playing a 1-player game, you get 3. If you're playing a 2, you get 2. And you're trying to score more points than everybody else. So that's kind of that. So let's go down to the table. Check them out. Alright, so here is everything that comes in the ladies portion of the Ladies and Gangsters expansion. Now, I'm not going to show you how the gameplay works in this because this is effectively going to play just like the base game, but it's going to add ladies and babies, as you can see on the table. So if you look at this red bean right here, the only difference here is you're going to have gents. So male red beans are called gents. Ladies are ladies. Babies are babies. And whatever's on top is how much you're going to be able to harvest for. So if you look at the lady, it takes less of her to get more money. So that's going to be the trend for all of these. And the baby, if the baby's on top of the pile when you harvest, you get nothing. So you're trying to not have babies on top, and you want to have ladies on top, because they're going to give you more coins in the harvest. And there's also, this one's going to also add 2/3 bean fields that you can buy for 3 coins at some point in the game after a harvest, so you have more places to plant some beans. That's it. Other than this, the differences in the babies and ladies, the game's going to play exactly the same. You're going to play cards in the field, you're going to trade. But if you trade a baby with someone, that baby gets to be planted first, so you're not like forced to plant the baby on top, which is nice. So a little more options here, just a little more a little more, I don't know, interesting pieces trading in this expansion. And overall, base game plays the same, maybe a little more fun. So that is the ladies. Let's check out the Gangsters. Alright, so here's the Gangster expansion of the Ladies and Gangsters expansion. Now this is interesting because it's only used for 1 or 2 players. So when you're playing a solo game, you're going to use all 3 of the Gangsters here. When you're playing a 2-player game, you're going to use 2. And then basically what's going to happen is it's going to add a couple different phases to this. So you're going to play like normal at the very first round. You're going to play cards, draw cards, all that kind of thing. Then when it comes to the offering phase, when you draw a card, at the beginning of the game, each of these are going to be set with, a different bean. So say I have this. Okay, I have these 2 out there with these beans. Okay, then when it's time to draw, if these come up, they go directly to the bosses. Or if they match something on the discard pile, you're going to clean off the discard pile into these offer stacks. Okay, so that's effectively the change here. And then once these can make some money, you're going to harvest them and they're going to score some points, and you're trying to have more points than the Gangsters. That's effectively it. You can also buy a 3rd bean field for 4 coins in this one as well. And it's going to play similarly, but because you're playing a 1 or 2-player game, you're going to have these bosses here that are going to basically simulate other players to make it more interesting, which I think is kind of cool. And you got some new beans. You got a bush bean, you got a fava bean, you got cool art on that kidney bean right there playing the trumpet. I like that, pretty nice. So that's it. It's not going to change the game a ton. It doesn't change the game a ton, but it makes the trading a little more interesting, because trading with 2 players is just woof. But yeah, so that's what you're trying to do. So that is the Gangsters. Let's go to the top, see what we think about it. Alright, so that was Ladies and Gangsters, the expansion for Bohnanza. So the ladies basically takes the base game and just kind of amps it up a little bit. So you're having ladies and you're having babies. So you're trying to get different types of beans on top of your stack to harvest better. You don't want to have babies on the top because that's bad. So it's the similar type of game, but once you play the game a bunch, maybe throw that in and it'll just jazz it up. Now the Gangsters is cool because I've played this a lot solo. And playing those the Mafia beans, Cabohne and all that kind of thing, playing against all those beans, they harvest a ton. They harvest a ton of beans. So you're always trying to make sure you're playing beans down that are not going to be stolen by them. You're trying to play different types of beans. You're trying to get your beans out in the fields faster because they'll steal them, they'll harvest, and they will beat you. I played a whole bunch of games and I haven't won yet. I am bad. But yeah, I didn't go over the gameplay a ton, but it's basically the same. You still have 5 cards. You're going to plant 1 or 2, but then there's also, you're going to flip 3 cards and there's no trading. If the bean is out with the Mafia bean, they're going to take the card. If it's not out with the Mafia bean and it's at the top of the discard pile, you're going to add that. And then after all that is done, you have to harvest those beans if you're playing a solo game. So you're going to have to harvest stuff on your field if you can't take it. Normal rules. Then you're going to draw back up to 5 cards and keep going over and over and over. When the deck runs out once, game's over. Whoever has the most coins is the winner. So yeah, it's fantastic. I like this expansion a lot. The ladies, we played it a lot. It's really good. Takes the base game and just makes it a little bit better. So that's fine. And playing this solo is interesting. Not something I want to do a lot, but it's nice to just have that option. And I appreciate that. So I'm going to give the Ladies and Gangsters expansion a BGM accepted seal. This is going to get an 8 out of 10 on BGG, which is a 4 out of 5 wrenches on our arbitrary wrench scale. That means absolutely nothing. But we have to give it the games that we enjoy. And that's what I'm going to do. So that is Ladies and Gangsters, the Bohnanza expansion. I'm Jason with the Board Game Mechanics. And as always, keep gaming.